I'm going to play Sonic the Hedgehog today. And I don't mean the 2006 Sonic game, which was also called Sonic the Hedgehog, as the Sega felt that it would be a good idea to confuse everybody forever with those names. But we're not here to talk about the 2006 Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is the one we're here to talk about instead. We're here to talk about SAUCE! Sega! That famous, really quite badly compressed voice clip there, listening to it now. That's what time does. That was famous once. It's SAUCE! SAUCE! Sonic Team presents. The team dedicated to Sonic. At least you know what they're for. There's Sonic the Hedgehog there in his title, doing his finger wag thing. Goodness knows what on earth that means. I don't know what the finger wagging is supposed to indicate. Is that like the Japanese thumbs up? What's Sonic saying? Hey, whoa, yeah! I'm too cool for thumbs! Whoa! Have a finger instead! It's very nice, Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog, okay. Brother, you don't get long on the title screen, do you? It's 6 seconds, and then it immediately goes to the demo. But anyway, that's Sonic, like, whatever. SAUCE! No more dally-dollying. Tween Hill Zone, Act 1. It's the first act of a 5-act play featuring William Hogspear. Must have written it. William is what he is. So, Sonic the Hedgehog is the first. The Sega Genesis console came out in 1989, I believe, and Sonic himself didn't show up for 2 years. And it was a pretty long and slow 2 years for Sega and their console, but until then, there was basically nothing on it anybody cared about. Then Sonic came along and became the mascot of the series. Sonic came along and became Sega's mascot to such a profound degree that you might have thought that this was a launch title for their console, but no, it came out 2 years later. It really shows how much Sonic mattered to Sega. How important he was. He became their face immediately. They tried to do Alex Kidd before Sonic, the little monkey man or whatever he is, but that failed. Like, nobody cared. Well, maybe they did, I don't know. I'm not a Sega historian. I was a Nintendo boy. I only had Nintendo consoles. Sega and Sonic themselves were a big mystery to me. I was enchanted by Sonic and his amazing allure. I know that in America you had that... Oh, I should be talking about the controls and stuff, shouldn't I? Like I always do. In Sonic the Hedgehog you could move left and right and you could jump. And if you're running to the side and then you hold down while you're running, you can do this. The spin dash. And the spin dash is a thing that they brought in later games, but you can spin in this one. There he is. There he's rolling around in his ball. All of those blue spines on his back that you can see on his back of his head, they hit the enemies, I guess, when he's a ball. And that's why they die, because he is a hedgehog after all. Super fast hedgehog with a need for speed. Whoa! Yeah! He's really cool and stuff. He was the image of coolness back in the 90s. Sonic was the man. He was the ultimate hedgehog. Whoa, he struggles a little bit up the hills, but whatever. This is his first game, Green Hill Zone, very iconic. Anyway, Sega, in America, you had the famous... Oh, what the F, I forgot this has got that glitch. Where if you hit spikes twice like that, you're dead, no matter what. Your rings won't save you. I'm right back to the start. Doing a good job here, aren't I? This is an old-fashioned... This might be a classic, but it's also old. Which means that if I lose all those lives, that's it. Back to the start of the game. No questions. That's your lot. Ah, invincibility, cool! In America, Sonic was deliberately put up against Mario and Nintendo themselves. Sega was, for whatever reason, Sega really wanted to attack Nintendo and make out that they were better. And they wanted to start a war between kids over what console they owned. All this stuff about Nintendo... Sega does what Nintendo don't. All of those sorts of things. That was a big thing in America. But I don't think it was in Europe or Scotland. Nobody seemed to care here. To me, Sonic was just fascinating. He was a mysterious thing I didn't get to play. I certainly didn't hate him or anything. There was none of that rivalry stuff. I found out I got to play Sonic from Rob. I got to play Sonic from Rob. Or, well, when I was at Rob's house once or twice, he had a Sega and he had Sonic. So that was the only time I ever saw this hedgehog, and it was really exciting. I was really fascinated back then with this little blue hedgehog and his adventuresome quest to stop the evil Dr. Robotnik, who is a man that is a doctor. He's an evil scientist person. He's a human being as well. The only human in this whole series up until whenever that stopped being the case. The 3D games, I think. Dr. Robotnik has decided for some stupid reason to build an army of robots that are powered by animals. So he grabs animals, sticks them inside the robots, and... oh, I just realised something. Daft. I just realised something. I'll be back. Oh wait, I gotta have 50 rings to get the Chaos Emerald. Whoa! This is me showing my Sonic ignorance. As much as I know about Mario and all of that, those games from playing them, I never played Sonic until way later. And I've not got that much experience with him, so I'm not a Sonic master. We're going to start over from the beginning and you're going to watch, because I didn't miss much. I'm going to try and get all the Chaos Emeralds, yeah! Which might be a hard task, because I know that's very difficult. One of the exciting things about Sonic, back in the Sonic time from the early Sega days, was one of the exciting things to me anyway, was the Chaos Emeralds. It was very exciting how there were these secret things that you could only get under certain conditions. Having the ring at the end and getting the special stages. And it was really, there was something to me really, really unusual and fascinating about that. These secret optional collectibles that must do something really important but you don't know what it is. That was fascinating. That's such a normal thing now, to have the secret to optional stuff you got to collect across the game to unlock a bonus ending or something later. That is just so normal, but it was really not normal at all back when this came out. In fact, I dare say Sonic might have been one of the first characters to do something like that. I thought that was great. That was brilliant. I went the wrong way. I hit the goal, which is actually what you don't want to do. If you hit the goal, then you leave the special stage. That's the end of things, not the start. You got to find the Chaos Emerald inside of the special stage instead of the goal. Despite the word goal being a good word, it's a bad thing. Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter, because I've got a secret backup plan actually. If I can't collect all the Chaos Emeralds, I'll just do something else to make that be something that happens. We'll get round to that when we get round to it. For now, there's a loop-de-loop, the famous Sonic the Hedgehog loop-de-loop. How do I get that one up there? I'm just going to completely waste this invincibility. Whoa! Maybe I got to go over this way, that. What if I jump from here? There. Whoa, come on! Oh, I just made it. Let's try that again. No, well, forget the life, then who needs it? Me. But I'm not going to get it. Well, you just got to cut your losses sometimes. You don't always get everything you want. Isn't that right, Sonic?
Sure is. Have a chili dog on me. That's one thing I'm guaranteed to get, because I always get my chili dogs. Chili dog.
That was Sonic. Well, that was actually... That voice that I always do for Sonic is a voice that he's never had, I think. I don't even know where it comes from. I don't know why I keep putting on that stupid voice. Sonic's had various voices over the years. He had Jaleel White in the 90s, who was an American man that appeared on an American sitcom. That's pretty much all I know of him. Where am I supposed to go? Well, not there. There's the goal. That's bad. How are you supposed to tell where you're supposed to go? I have no idea if the place I'm heading to is a bad thing. Until it's too late. These are the famous trippy bonus levels. Yeah, that's another bad thing. Crumbs, where am I supposed to go? Up, that thing says. Is this it? I have no way of knowing. Yeah, that was it, I guess. Oh, it's getting faster. These levels are famously, like, they get people groggy and stuff. Oh, for crying out loud! These things are more complicated than I thought. This is going to be a lot of fun, isn't it? When I have to actually get all these special stages. There's only so many chances you get to do them all. And they're not so plentiful. Not so many chances to do it either, because you can only get into them at the final. You can only get into one at the end of an act, and there's 3 acts per zone. Whoa, what's this? I think my legally obtained, normal, real-world, physical Sega Mega Drive that I'm playing this game on must be glitching up slightly. That little effect there, whatever. Sonic can bust through some of these walls. such as this one. You wouldn't normally find that out unless you're on the lower path. And anybody that knows about classic Sonic knows you don't want to be on the lower path, because that's where the death is. The bottomless pits and things. The higher up you are, the more skilled you are, the easier of a time you have. Which is why I'm at the very bottom of the level right now. Perilously close to the pits. But don't worry, I'll pull ourselves through this. Sonic is going to get through this unscathed. Ah, there's a check marker. Oh, it's one of these bridges. Whoa! Oh, there's something up here. Let's see what happens if we go all the way along all of those. Ah,
Yeah.
At the end of the third act, you can't get in this special stage. It doesn't appear at all. I don't know why that is, though. They could. There's no reason for that to be the case. If you gather 50 rings and reach the end of Act 1 or 2, you get the special big ring that takes you to the special stage, but not in Act 3. There's no reason for this. That was just mean. That was cruel, Sega. It's hard enough to get these things. Oh well. All of these, you might have noticed when we slam an enemy, an animal flies out of it. That's because Dr. Robotnik, the big bad man that I was talking about, decided to use animals, innocent animals, to power his evil robots of evilness. I don't know why he does this, or what the reason is, but he does. He does that, and he's going to do so by making the robots. He's going to take over the world in some generic, vague way that I don't know if they ever explain, but he is going to take over the world. But unfortunately for him, there is exactly one animal on the entire planet, the planet of Mobius, so we'll get to that later, that can do anything about it, and it's a super fast hedgehog with shoes and white 1920s piano player gloves, like Mickey Mouse. I find that weird. The gloves are a bit of a strange part of Sonic's design. He was designed, according to something I've read, he was designed to be cool. But specifically, he was designed to appear cool to American audiences. I don't need that checker thing. I'm fine. I can easily take on the easiest boss in Sonic history. Dr. Ivo Robotnik has arrived himself in his little egg machine to the thing. I called it an egg machine because his name in Japan is Dr. Eggman. A name that's unbelievably, incredibly stupid sounding. Which is naturally why they decided to make that the official Western name as well at some point. They thought, here, you know what, this Eggman, that's such a daft name. Stuff Robotnik, let's make him the Eggman instead, in England, in America. That was a choice they made. Although, I mean, Robotnik's pretty ridiculous as well, but anyway, after we beat him, we get to smash that capsule full of innocent farmyard animals. Rabbits and birds and the like. That's Robotnik's evil plan foiled there, but it's not finished. We got to do the same thing in all these other random zones that we go to. Marble Zone is the next one, this one here. According to things, again, that I've heard and read over the years on the internet, the original plan for this game's level order was different. The zones were going to come in different order from how they resulted in this game. And the original second zone was meant to be Labyrinth Zone, which is a name that surely sends chills down the spines of many Sonic fans. And you'll see why that is. I'm sure that I'm going to be seeing firsthand why that is when I get to it. Can I go back across these? I'm going to find out the hard way. Just like Sonic and his friends found out themselves when Dr. Robotnik told them he was going to take the Chaos Emeralds from them by force. The hard way! In some game or other. I forget which one on earth it was. I don't remember if that is that the same game where he told them that they're going to have a very special race to see who's the fastest. We're having a race, but not just any race, a special race to see who's the fastest. Truly, there's never been a race held for such a purpose before. That is definitely very special indeed.
Whoa!
Sonic's voice acting. In the 90s, Jaleel White did it. He appeared on some American sitcom called something. He was a nerdy child. He was a complete nerd, which is naturally why they chose him to voice the coolest character of all time. That makes sense, doesn't it? And he had his he even used his nasally nerd voice.
Yeah, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. I got a need for speed. Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking looking back at that. Maybe that was a joke. Maybe that was the joke all along. I don't know. But Jaleel White was Sonic in the old cartoons that they made. and, well, at some point, they stopped having him, and who was the next? I don't know who the next one was. The one I'm interested in is Jason Griffith, the one who says all of his sentences, raising his voice at the end of the sentence. He was the one that split the fan base. He was also the one that was Sonic's voice in the other Sonic game that was called Sonic the Hedgehog in 2006, which I mentioned. Quite a famous game. Quite a landmark, milestone game in the series, it's safe to say. That game was quite significant indeed. Quite significant for being considered one of the worst big games of... One of the worst games... What would you say? One of the worst big, meaningful games with an important character in it ever made. I don't really know how to put it, but it was everyone hated it. And okay, now that's probably bad down there. Let's see if we can angle ourselves right to find out if it's bad. Well, the answer to that's no. Eee! Uh-oh. No. Okay, what's... No, the goal. That's a goal there. That's a bad thing. Aha! The Chaos Emerald is always inside these diamonds. So let's get in there. Come on, get in there. Don't rotate the other way, you plonker. Don't you dare. Yeah, don't rotate the other way around and force me to fall out of that diamond pile. Finally got one there. Nice pink one. The pink emerald. One of 6. There's 6 emeralds in this game. There's 7 in every one after this. I don't know why that's the case. But maybe that's the reason why you can't transform into Super Sonic in this game. Sadly. None of that. We don't get to replace the level music with a generic 10-second long theme. We don't get to fall down that spike pit in the cavern zone in the second game and have to wait for 10 minutes for the time to run out because he can't die. None of that exciting fun stuff to worry about here. We're in Labyrinth Zone instead, where we got to push blocks to make things happen. And Sonic 06 is what they call it. Sonic 2006 is the name. Well, that's not the name. That Sonic the Hedgehog game that came out in 2006 tends to get called Sonic 06. Everyone hated it. But it was important because Sega had been moving in a direction up until that point. The Sonic series had been getting increasingly more taking itself seriously. We'd had the Sonic Adventure series, where he was doing things like an entire city gets flooded to death, presumably, and there's a big, massive, evil super monster that's going to destroy the world. There's a plot. The sequel to that had a dark, edgy hedgehog, whoa, who interrupts people mid-sentence, and stuff. No, wait, Sonic was the one that interrupted him mid-sentence, excuse me. You're not even good enough to be my fake. Oh, and then, well, everything started to get a bit more deep. The Eggman nearly kills Sonic in one scene. He thinks he has killed him, and it looks like he has. There's mild swearing, I think. No, I think there wasn't, actually. There was mild swearing in a later game in this series, featuring the Shadow the Hedgehog himself, the edgy, extreme hedgehog. No. And it's something funny saying that, an extreme, edgy hedgehog. But I guess that kind of seals it, though. The series started to forget how ridiculous its premise was to begin with. Started taking itself rather seriously. And that all kind of culminated with Sonic 06, which took itself arguably the most seriously of all of the games in the series. It really believed in itself and the meaningfulness of its plot. It wasn't funny or anything, it was deadly serious. What's this? What am I supposed to do here? Huh? There's obviously a reason for that, right? I tried rolling into the wall, but nothing happened. What gives? Was there a television in there? I don't know. Hey, I can't reach that. I guess maybe I can jump it from here, though. No, I guess not. Sonic 06 was it was a very important game because after that point, Sega very clearly got the hint, and they backpedaled completely from all of the seriousness that they started treating Sonic with. I mean, every game from that onwards was dramatically less serious and much more light-hearted. In fact, Sonic Unleashed came after that, the one where he's a werewolf or werehog, and that one had a plot, had a storyline and a big monster and things, but certainly much less Much more silly and jokey and things. And then all the games since then were even less plotty than that, and they had even less of the significance and stuff. There's no continuity anymore. There's no before Sonic 06, there was this sort of overarching story of sorts that was going on. There were plot elements carried over between the games. They've just stopped that completely. There's nothing anymore. There is no overarching story. There's nothing at all. There's just that you don't play as any characters but Sonic anymore. So Sega really were clearly frightened, clearly scared by what happened with Sonic 06's backlash. And they've been backpedaling from it ever since. If they're ever going to start going back to the more serious stuff and things, then there's not much sign of it. That Sonic Forces, though, that was a slight step in that direction. I say slight step, being quite key. Sonic, there's a part of that where it says that Sonic was... the game starts off, actually, with Sonic getting slammed and seemingly killed, possibly. Yeah, he's seemingly killed. Looks like he's dead, and that's it. And then they make a fuss over this and have... The tone suddenly gets quite dark and grim. But then, by the end of the second cutscene, literally before the first level even begins, I think, they come out and say, "Oh, it turns out he's alive! Whoa, let's go rescue him! Yeah!" And they just completely demolish any suspense they might have had, just to totally destroy any illusion that the story might go somewhere interesting. Nope, he's alive. And then they rescue him. Although it says when they find out he's alive, they say, "Oh, also he's got tortured for 6 months. Robotnik's been torturing him for 6 months straight." And then when you get to him, you release him from his prison cell or whatever, and he goes, "Hey, whoa, cool, man! That wasn't much fun. How about a chili dog? Let's go!" And he's pretty chipper for someone that's been going through horrible, abominable torture for 6 months. Sonic just takes it on his chin. Or maybe he takes it on his unit eye, his single eye that he has. Because Sonic's got one eyeball. He's got one eyeball and two pupils. What am I supposed to do here? Oh, that, okay. Because I never owned a Sega and I've not had much experience with Sonic games, I'm not used to all the alternate paths. That's one of the things Sonic the Hedgehog is so famous for. His early games. They have lots of different paths you can take. Many ways to go through these very, very labyrinthine levels. Big, complex level structures. It's very nice. It's good. Yeah. I was afraid I might glitch the camera if I do that, but it's not going to stop me. Oh, no. I wonder if I can make it go below. No, I can't make it go below him. Oh, I shouldn't have been... Well, I did. Oh, no! Ugh. Let's push that wall.
Whoa, yeah, uncool. Whoa. Exercises for labors.
Oh, there's nothing there. Am I going to make it out of this alive? With one ring? I've not even talked about oh, that was lucky, wasn't it? The ring mechanic, as you can see, just saved my bacon there, or saved my hedgehogginess right there. What a good place to demonstrate how the rings work. The damage system in Sonic is very weird, very strange, very innovative. If you ask me, it was very clever as well, for a game like this. Because how it works is that Sonic can get hit as many times as you like. He can get hit as many times as enemies can hit him. Without losing any lives. He could be hit 1,000 times, as long as he's got one ring, at least one ring on his ring counter. Every ring you collect, which are kind of like the Mario coins, really. You get a life, extra life for every 100 you get. But when Sonic gets hit, all of his rings fly out of him. Every single one. He loses all the rings in that ring counter up on the top left. But you can, after he gets hit, you can go grab the rings and get them back again. Or at least some of them back again. You can never get that many back. Also, when you get smashed from a spike trap or something like that above, if something crushes you to death, then you die from the death of the... You die from the death of the thing that crushed you to death. But otherwise, rings are helpful. Very good mechanic, because in a game like Sonic, where one of the big things of Sonic, which again I haven't really mentioned, is his super fast speed. He's very fast and quick. He moves quickly.
All about the speed. It's all about speed.
And he's got to go fast. Which means that if you're doing what the game tells you to do and rocketing around everywhere, you don't have any you're going to bump into stuff and get cheap hits and things. You're gonna be just running along, and suddenly, bam! A caterpillar like that appears and hits you, and you had a squillisecond to dodge it. A squillisecond. That's a really small. That's like less than a millisecond even. And I made that up. You think that you can get, well, that happens, and so because of all the cheap hits that you're inevitably going to take, you get, if you've got rings, it's fine. You can get hit as many times as you want. It's okay. So that's quite good. It stops the game from getting really unreasonable. Sonic would be unplayable if you died in one hit because, again, of all the cheap hits and stuff. Unlike, say, Bubsy, I like to think of Bubsy as a good example of how to fail to do a Sonic-style game, because Bubsy was trying to rip Sonic off. Oh, that was close. But Bubsy really does die in one hit, and Bubsy really proves why it's such a big problem. A lot of the reason people hate his game so much is because it's just impossible to survive. It's so cheap. Bubsy doesn't even have a little spin roll to do. At least if you roll with Sonic, you can hurt stuff. If you're running towards something and roll, you'll hurt him, but not Bubsy. Bubsy will rocket across the screen, but if he touches anything, he's dead. That's it. So that's Bubsy's problem. That's Bubsy's fatal flaw, but Sonic didn't have that flaw. I don't know if the stuff I'm talking about here, I don't know if they were thinking of that when they did this ring thing. I've never seen anything to say that was their intention with the rings, but it's a good... If it was their intention, it would have been a good one. So I would have approved of that. I'd get a thumbs up from Billy Mays. I mean, for me, Billy Mays the Hedgehog. Sonic is, after all, Billy Mays, as we all know. Rest in peace, Sonic. I think that... that's rings. Oh, that one's going fast. Oh, hey, speaking of cheap hits, that was nice, wasn't it? The lava waterfall. A lava waterfall! Yo! That was really nice. That was so cheap. This too. Oh dear. Seeing that thing reminds me of the infamous Game Boy Advance port of this game, which was infamous.